Hi everyone, welcome back to this series of Agile PMP practice questions, ideal for your PMP or your Agile Certified Practitioner exams, and really important because Agile is such a huge part of the way of work in projects and in business these days as well. This is a great series of 5 questions today. We've got 2 easy ones up front and then 3 scenario-based questions on the back of that. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Let's get into it. You are working on a project where the organization wants to move towards an Agile way of work. Which 2 project life cycles combine to create an Agile environment? Oh, this is good. Okay, and pretty simple, so we can get straight into the harder questions later on. Iterative and predictive? No. So, and we'll have a look at these in a second. Incremental and predictive? No. So the 2 ones that combine don't involve predictive. Predictive is our waterfall approach, okay? Pretty simple stuff, but we'll show you why in a second. Iterative and incremental, yes, definitely that one. And predictive and agile, no, not that one either. So what we're looking at for an agile way of work is 2 things. Iterative, where we're iterating and getting feedback, and then iterative will actually release in one go. But if we're combining that with incremental, where we're delivering an increment, delivering an increment, delivering an increment, delivering an increment, and finally finishing off the project, that's the combination of those 2 things is what gives us our agile way of work. So let's go with answer C. Answer C. An agile project environment is created by combining incremental, where smaller features are released more regularly, and iterative, where the product improves through iterations and is released after the feedback. That was a really great way to start and a good definition of agile. Let's get into the next question. You've come on board a new project team and you've been advised that the project works with a predictive style of project lifecycle. Okay, this is the other side of the scale. This is good, a really good foundation. How will you know you're working in a predictive or waterfall style approach? All right, the bulk of the planning is done up front and then executed in a single sequential process. Yes, that's definitely it. We plan everything up front and then we go step by step all the way to one single release right at the end. That's our predictive. We're predicting how the project will go and be released. That's probably the right one. Let's see what else we've got. The bulk of planning is done up front, then prototypes are created. No, that's iterative because we're getting feedback from those prototypes and then releasing in one go, remember. A product roadmap is created and smaller features are designed and released as part of the whole. That's probably more incremental because we're delivering in smaller increments or features. And lastly, the project uses feature sprints, Kanban boards and retrospectives to manage their work. That's not really about the project lifecycle, that's more just about the tools that we're using. So for a predictive or waterfall approach, let's go with answer A. And it's important to know this because we need to know what's agile and also what's not agile, and the different methods that we're going to use for each of those approaches, and the different times that we're going to use those approaches as well. When there's low risk and low change, then we can use a predictive method very easily, and that's good to know. So anyway, all of that to say, all of the planning is done up front, executing in a sequential process, ideal for definable work and products where the risk is well known, exactly as we were saying. Great stuff. All right, let's go into a little bit of harder questions, I think, here. Maybe more on Agile. Let's see what we've got. You're working as a project manager in an Agile team. Which of the below are not examples of execution practices you will see in Agile? So these are the things that we'll do on a daily basis to execute our project in an Agile environment. We've got test at all levels, where the team applies end-to-end testing and unit testing. So we're testing at the story level, and then we're testing when there's a bunch of stories together. So we're doing overall testing, but we're also doing single story testing. We're testing at all levels of the project. Agile teams prefer automated tests. So once all of those cards have been created, and let's say we put them into a test environment, along with we merge them with all of the other code, and then we run an automated test or a bunch of tests if we can to make it fast, but also to quickly see if anything has broken when we've merged it with the rest of our code. And that's just a really great way to do it. It's fast and we get feedback quickly, so I really like that one. Test-driven development, where we write the tests first and then we write the code. And then once the code is written, we test it again to see if the test has passed. That's test-driven development, a really good practice in Agile. Spikes, which are time-boxed research or experiments useful for estimating or figuring out acceptance criteria or learning something critical, so about technical or functional element that we're looking into. Basically a bit of research, a bit of discovery work. That's our spike, and it's time-boxed so we don't spend too much time on it. And that's a really good practice as well. The project management plan, where the project is planned in detail upfront to avoid misunderstanding by project stakeholders. That's more of an iterative, more of a predictive, or waterfall approach is answer D. And I think answer D is the incorrect one, the one that we're not going to see in an Agile team. And there it is. A project management plan is a key artifact in a predictive or waterfall project management approach. Test at all levels, test-driven development, and spikes are all Agile practices that you will see. Well done, guys. All right, only a couple to go. Let's see what else we've got. The product owner has worked with the development team to list all the work to be done, write up the user stories for each feature, and place them into the product. Backlog. What will you do next? Oh, and this is great. A good scenario-based question. Let's see what we've got. Okay, what will we do next? Groom the backlog to ensure only important items are being worked on. I mean, that's kind of okay. Create the schedule management plan. No, that's more of a predictive or a waterfall approach there. Schedule management plan and your project management plan and your quality management plan and your scope management plan, all of those things are predictive or waterfall approaches. Sort the items by business priority, place them in an iteration, complete the items, and then remove them from the backlog. Whoa, that's a whole mouthful there. But yes, that's exactly what we'll do. So we've written up the user stories, we've placed them in the product backlog, then we sort them by business priority, place them in an iteration, complete those items and remove them from the backlog. I think that one's looking really good so far. Lastly, move the items into the requirements traceability matrix so you can report on their progress. Requirements traceability matrix is still really important, and you might see this used in an Agile team as well as a predictive method or a waterfall project as well. Why? Because we actually still want to know that our requirements are being met, and this is where our business analysts will come into it. And so it's still very important work to trace those requirements to the story cards or the work that is being completed. All of that to say, that's not what we're going to do next, even though you may use that tool along on your project. We're still going to sort by business priority, place them in an iteration, complete those items, and then remove them from the backlog. So let's go with answer C. There it is. Managing the project requirements via the product backlog is a fundamental Agile practice. The product backlog is the source of truth and is continuously reprioritized as the work gets done to ensure maximum value is delivered first. And that's a really great way to work. And also we're up to the last question for today. So well done, guys, you've done great. Let's see what we've got. The business partner or product owner continuously refines or grooms the product backlog. This includes adding new stories, reprioritizing stories, and removing stories when needed. What role does the development team take during this process? Oh, this is good. Developing the cards as soon as they're added to ensure maximum value. Not necessarily. We still want to put them into our sprint backlog as long as they're prioritized, that the product owner says that that's what we want to work on. So maybe not that one. Removing cards from the backlog that don't make sense to complete. Again, that's not our role. That's not the development team's role because the product owner needs to prioritize these things. Estimating the work needed for each card so the product owner can prioritize based on value and effort. Yes, really, really important. Now the product owner needs that information. How long is it going to take? If it's going to take 20 weeks, then maybe we need to figure out if we can work on something else instead that's going to deliver us the same amount of value. Really, really important. Okay, I think that one's probably our one. Coming in to daily stand-ups to report on what has been done yesterday and what will be done today. Yes, everyone will come to the stand-up, or anyone who wants to, but that's not what we're going to do during the process. We prefer to get the work needed for each card, so estimating the work, so that the product owner can prioritize. Let's go with answer C. And there it is. During backlog grooming, the development team is responsible for sizing or estimating the work. This allows the product owner, business representative, or customer to prioritize effectively based on value and time to delivery. And that's our 5 questions for today. You've done a really great job, and I know that you are preparing in a great way for your PMP or your Agile Certified Practitioner exams, where Agile is becoming more and more prominent in all of these things and in the work that we do on a day-to-day basis. I truly believe that you can pass the exam. Keep going. I know you can do it. I'll see you in the next couple of videos, and bye for now.